Uh,
I feel like Davina
so
McCall.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are live. So we are just testing out some live streaming at the moment, folks. So Rob and I have been having a little play with live streaming over the last few weeks to see whether it works. So I am just seeing whether we are actually live as we're talking, though I can't see at the moment. But hopefully we are going out live to the Facebook group, to LinkedIn, and to various different other channels right now. So what I wanted to do was just jump on a live because, as I say, we are currently playing about with the technology and hoping to do more lives for the L&D Mastermind community and get more engagement this way and bring you lives for lots of chat about L&D and what's going on in our sector and what's happening for different people working within L&D. So lots of plans to do more of this kind of stuff. So keep your eyes open for that. Oh, we've got a hello from Facebook.
Hello.
Hello. But the big thing that we want to tell you about is our live event that is happening on the 28th of April. So for that, I'm going to hand over to Rob for a second and he can tell you more about the live event on the 28th of April.
Thank you very much, James. Yeah, it looks like we're all live on everything we thought we were live on as well. So that's good news.
Excellent.
So yeah, the event on the 28th of April, guys, you're not going to want to miss it because it's one of the hot topics that we talk about in L&D is how do we, well, let's go back to the problem. We seem to always be at the centre of the restructures. I've run multiple polls over the years around L&D teams and how we feel like we get made redundant. And if we're not made redundant, those recycles are happening normally every 6 months through to 2 years. And, I think it's a very exclusive club of L&D professionals in their career who've never gone through a restructure, let alone been made redundant. So it's the idea that there is no smoke without fire. How is it that we can make sure we do add value to an organisation, but also that value is seen and needed and warranted and actually recognised by the people who make those decisions around who's adding value to the organisation? What does that actually mean? What is that value? How do we measure it? How do we link in? Who do we need to talk to? All those great things. And on the day, what we've got is we've got some fantastic guest panelists coming along to help us discuss those things. So we've got Satnam Sagoo, who's the Chief People Officer for Imperial College Healthcare, used to be of the British Red Cross.
Fantastic.
And she's also works very closely in an advisory level with the LPI as well, the Learning Performance Institute. And what she's going to bring to that table is that kind of real life struggle of L&D. So you can imagine that working in the places that she's worked there, that budget has never been in the millions when it comes to creating the world-class leading new, whatever it might be, technology of learning.
Budgets of millions. They went out the window a long time ago.
Absolutely did. But what does that look like really at ground level? Then we've got Charles Jennings. So Charles Jennings of 7022 Institute fame and also now Tulsa, which is kind of the same sort of stuff in there. So from that point of view, that experiential learning piece, what does the whole learning cycle look like and what are we missing out on there? That links in really well to David James, who's the Chief Learning Officer at Loop, but also the host of the L&D podcast. And what David brings into there is that learning in the flow of work. So that'll tie in really nicely with Charles Jennings' message, but also really thinking of that from a practical implementation point of view. How do we do that in the flow of work? What does that actually mean? And then finally, but certainly not least, we've got Joe Wright, who's the CEO of Coaching Culture. Now, Joe's value here is going to be offset against all those other people to kind of really drive home this isn't just about what we as learning professionals do. It's also about the culture, leadership, and the way that we coach people, not just train them and throw e-learning at people. How do we as L&D professionals make sure that we've got a hand in that pie and end up help to drive the culture and the coaching culture of what we're trying to build? Now, the format of that is not going to be a series of talks and speeches. The format of that is that, well, there's going to be one or two. There's going to be obviously ourselves hosting it, myself to do a small piece at the start just to kind of set up the day. But the middle part of the session, 2 hours, is going to be what we're calling a question time style event. So you've ever seen Question Time, or you're aware of Question Time on the BBC? That's exactly what it's going to be. So we're going to get some questions from you guys who register for the event beforehand. We're also going to have some live questions we can pick during the day from the comments that you put up on there. And it is going to be a panel discussion around how do we add value as L&D through all those different topics. So hopefully we can challenge those panelists. They can channel each other's thinking and push each other as well. And we'll get to gleaned all of their combined insight and experience to hopefully give you guys some practical tools, advice and answers to go away and implement there and then.
Brilliant, Rob. I am really, really looking forward to the event. I think you're absolutely right. I think in my experience of learning and development, there are so many people doing amazing work in very challenging circumstances with difficult stakeholders working across L&D, but so much of that goes unseen. And so it's all about how do we get seen? How do we get our seat at that table? How do we get the recognition we deserve for the value that we bring to organizations? So I'm really excited to hear from our panelists. So folks, please, submit your questions before the event. We've got an event on Facebook, in the Facebook group. So if you want to post your questions there on the event in the Facebook group or on the LinkedIn company page, or I think, Rob, you've got it on your LinkedIn page as well. So plenty of places you can drop your questions in, guys, or even on the back of this video, if you want to pop some questions in the comments to this video that you'd like to ask our fantastic panelists.
And I guess also, if you want to mark that up, and you can include myself and James in this as well, that if it's a question for all the panelists, please put that. But if there's a specific person on the panel that you want to address a question to that can then follow a bit of debate about that, then please put the name of the person you'd like to address that to, and then I can make sure that we do that.
Brilliant. No, fantastic. So please mark that in your diary. 28th of April, 9:30 a.m. We will be going live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, with our panel of guests to discuss how do we take L&D from order takers to wave makers, which is such an important theme for us. One final thing before we disappear this afternoon, just to let all of our L&D Mastermind members know, the website is now live, so you can now access the L&D Mastermind website at ldmastermind.com, and for our Connect members, the courses and course library is all back live as well. So if you are midway through a course or you want to start one of our fantastic L&D Mastermind courses, the website is back up and running and live. So please dive in, guys, make use of the resources that are on there. But I think that's just about it from us. So the main thing, do not forget the 28th of April, 9:30 a.m. But from me, I think it's a goodbye for now.
And a goodbye from him. very, very true. Ronnie's like, I'm two blokes, glasses on. This could end very badly.
It could, couldn't it? Right. On that note, thanks for watching, everyone. See you all soon.
Cheers now. Bye-bye.